Stop laughing. This is serious business, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so I got a few disclaimers we got to cover. Number one, there are a bunch of bills that came through this year. If y'all been following it all, tons of education bills. All of them have yet to be signed. So we're still trying to figure out stuff. Some, since this was approved, because Katie made us have to turn it in early. So it was approved before I left. And since I've left, bills have been signed, right? And once it's signed is when we can get the go to start running to figure out how to implement and do all the stuff and then come up with all the fun things that you are going to have to do. All right. So some of that is still kind of hazy, cloudy, murky, all those words. And so we're still trying to get through it because this was a late session. Hopefully by the time we have famous next year, because next year is an early session, it may be a little bit easier, but it may not. Who knows? I don't know what's going to happen. I don't have my crystal ball, and Karnak is no longer around. So a lot of the things are going to happen, you know, as I mentioned, a lot of the bills take effect on Thursday, right? And some of them take effect as soon as they're signed. And you kind of have to navigate that water. Since there's so many, we're still trying to figure out this. I won't go through all the provisions of all the education bills because y'all will walk out of here in mass droves. And but if there are bills that I kind of run through a little bit that have special interest, you really need to look at the bill summaries and to get a complete understanding. And one thing I would suggest, as bills deal with specific areas, so if a bill deals with ESE or a bill deals with DJJ and you have DJJ facilities, get with your program people because they are living those bills. All right, a little different than us in the MIS world who have everything. They get to play in one little pool. We have to sit in the ocean. All right, so highlights. Oh, I can do that, can't I? Hot dog. All right, 52% of the legislation introduced and passed was just education. Just education. Some of the highlights, there's a lot of investments in education that were decided. There's a huge workforce push. Those of you with WITIS systems, I know you guys may not be messing with that, but those WITIS people are going to have some fun this year. A lot of stuff in improving learning environments. As you notice, we've been doing a lot of collection. Well, me, have been doing a lot of collection on progress monitoring. You're sending me all kind of data. You're going to send me a bunch more. Okay. So, but some of the stuff in school safety has been beefed up. Mental health has been beefed up. Some bills, and we're trying to figure out just how many of those things are going to be collected. We're trying to figure out the best, most equitable, easy, and accurate way to do it. So we don't put too much, you know, as I didn't say none, don't put too much undue burden on you guys. But, you know, we're going to spread the wealth. So some of the bills that passed, I'm not going to read those. I probably should because I got to fill up an hour or 40 minutes. But you see the bills. The ones in red were signed at the printing of this document. There are a bunch more that are now red. All right, so you can hit some of those. You can see that. Can y'all see that on the screen? I'll give you a moment to read it. So a bunch of the past bills for public schools, you see all those numbers. This is of course, Famous is going to put this online so you can go back and pull up the bill and read it yourself because I know you're super interested. And that's some of the other bills. I'll hit some of these. I'm not going to hit a lot because I can't. But let's get into some of them. I'm going to hit some of these just that we've kind of been tracking the most. A lot of these may not have direct implication to you, but it's giving you the feel of the landscape. And if you put them all together, you kind of see where we're headed. And there may be need for you to help your districts figure out how to implement some of this stuff because you guys are the expert in data collection, reporting, and all things geeky. So the homeschool, basically HB3 was to improve literacy outcomes by providing free books to K-12 below grade level readers, I would be figuring out how to know who those are quickly, because I figure somebody's going to ask about that at some point. You can go through the Just Read Florida stuff, but look at the last bullet point. Reporting required annually on participation, learning gains, and cost. All right. So how that's going to be reported specifically, how you're going to have to work that out in your district, I'm not sure at this moment. But understand, for this particular home free book assessment for low grade, below grade level readers, there will be a reporting requirement for the districts. So really be thinking through, how am I going to find those kids and know those kids based on whatever you use for, your below reading. Now, typically FSA is used in a lot, but understand we don't have FSA in K2, right? So progress monitoring probably will become much more a key, and you'll see it throughout the presentation. It pops up more and more. I know what I would do in my system as an MIS director. I'd find a way to bring in some of those progress monitoring scores into my SIS in case somebody asked for it. Then I would have it to get it to them. Does that make sense? I would think something like that, because I'm already asking, if you're not using one of the big 5 progress monitoring systems, iReady, Achieve 3000, NWEA, Renaissance. If you're not using one of the big ones, I've been asking that a district send me theirs directly in my format, because we can pull those from the department. So if you're not using any of those big 5 or the Cambian system that the state is providing the districts, you're going to have to report that kind of progress monitoring data on your own. Okay. And some of y'all have already been doing this, or somebody has a data scientist position that's handling it now. Those things are all out there. But as we go through it, we need to talk. You can always give me a call, BR 549. Civic education, as you know, that's a big deal, right? Graduation credit requires is not my thing. Is that your thing, Tracy? High school graduation credit stuff? Not really. Okay, but go to her session anyway. She tells me what to do. So, some big changes in civics education, and we'll talk a little bit. We have the civic literacy exam that we've been collecting data on from a few districts that are going to be continued on, figuring out how to do that. It's going to be added to the database manual. Please don't miss Teresa Sanko's session or Stephanie Jemice's student staff data session. Lot of changes that are going into effect. Okay? Y'all still with me? Yeah. Woo. Educated conduct. That's I'm looking at what I can't say. I wrote down what I can't say. Mainly, I wrote a little smiley face that says, be nice. So I'm gonna stay with that. I'm trying, I'm a nice guy. Look at this face. So educated conduct, yeah, really trying to get better accountability on school employees and operators who have been barred from employment, around the country, different places. Someone loses a spot here, but they can go somewhere else and there's no system to connect them. You don't know what happened, what went on. They just move on. Florida's really trying to make sure we protect our students, protect our schools, protect our staff. Now, the last bullet, school districts report misconduct investigations, whether individual is terminated or resigns under investigation. For those of y'all that have been dealing with the staff termination, you know what I'm talking about, right? The staff termination database that has to go in. I think Teresa Sanko's group was handling that. That's being beefed up. The application's being beefed up for reporting so that we can comply with this statute. So that you'll be getting much more specific on that, so that all districts will have access in addition to, if you noted, private schools. So it's becoming a much more vast database that we have to keep up to date. I'm not sure of the exact reporting requirements, but they will be strict. Changes in the Student Disabilities Act, HB 149. This had to do with seclusion and restraint. Y'all know that your ESC people have a seclusion and restraint website that they input in because they have date deadlines. They have to do it by so many days. They have to report to the state so much information. But you notice seclusion and restraint is also on the assessor report, right? And we had some great talks about that about a year and a half, 2 years ago, figuring out how do you get seclusion and restraint when there's no real discipline record, and how do you remember that fun talk we had? Yeah, I made up all kind of stuff for y'all. No, just kidding. So what we're working on now is an application out of the ESC group that will collect all seclusion and restraint data, ESC and non-ESC students, okay? And that's being built as we speak. That way it will collect the seclusion and restraint, because as we had discussions, all of this was built, the assessor reports and all that was built way back, before me. And so we started thinking, does it really fit there? And I didn't think so. But hey, who am I? And so we asked if we could be moved over there. Now, what I'm not sure of yet, what I'm trying to figure, can I stop recording and start back? What I'm trying to move to is move seclusion and restraint out of our survey reporting assessor and let it all be covered in that one application. So we don't have to keep trying to figure out what to do. Y'all can clap if you want to. It's all right. I said I'm trying to get it done. So we're trying to figure that out, because I know it's caused some problems in some districts. The numbers have not always equaled up correctly. And we're just trying to figure out what is the best way to get that data accurate, because we do report that to the feds. And we want to find something that makes more sense. And we think the application will help to do that and take some of that, the brunt of that collection off of you guys, okay? This one I thought I'd put in be really awesome, because as our demographic gets older, we want to make sure everybody around us can do first aid training or CPR. How many of y'all CPR certified? Okay, y'all sitting too far in the back. Y'all need to come up here, because I hit 63 this year and I don't know when I'm gonna drop. So you need to be ready to help a brother out. But they are expanding I'm trying to keep it going. You laugh at the jokes sometime. The young people don't think that's not funny. The old people like, I'm sitting next to one right now. First aid training on HB 157, they're kind of expanding the grade levels that they want to get first aid training. So, if a little kid, if you're laying on your back and a little kid comes running up to you, let him come, because he may be the only one in the world knows how to get your heart started. And so, but it's going to require CPR training in grades 9 through 11. I think that's awesome if you're in a combo school, K-12. A little concerned if I'm in an elementary school. Recommended first aid training for grades 6 through 8. I thought that was really cool to add in there. I think we need more people that know how to help people for real. IEP requirements. Trying to see if I got any big stuff. I want to hit you with that. There are some changes. Access prior to high school graduation, the planning and transition stuff. Yeah, that's what it says. Parent Bill of Rights. Y'all probably heard a lot about that. That's for definitely you IT people. It's going to have to be published somewhere. It's going to have to be very clear. You have to build it in your website. They'll probably come in and help you to kind of do that, trying to promote parent involvement. You got to post on the website and deliver information electronically. Of course, our IT people already got that handled, and we'll be able to do that before they leave here this week. Right, Bill? Yeah, Bill said he got it. He'll take care for all of y'all. Early learning and early grade success. This bill kind of, we have the Office of Early Learning that was kind of standalone. It's been moved into the early learning and now all under DOE specifically, succinctly. But this whole move on early learning is really going to be tied into keeping up with the progress monitoring, especially since, we don't get FSA scores till 3rd grade. So the early learning part, they're working on what will be the instrument if there is one, or will we use what you have for progress monitoring? But understand, I would be collecting that data in some way in case anybody throughout several of these bills are asking for your progress monitor reporting. So, 2021, the readiness rates will be calculated with current kindergarten screening. Got to get that data from somewhere, right? A lot of intervention stuff that's going to be planned. The Purple Star campuses I thought was really cool, really geared toward military families, helping them. And I'm all for helping military families in any way we can. The stuff they have to do to protect our country. Talk about being able to have easier access to education in some ways, some great ways for them. Health education, you had a couple of bills on that. Really gearing up, trying to fight child sexual abuse, exploitation, human trafficking. A lot more training is going to be done in the schools. I don't really think there's going to be a part for you to deal with in data reporting, just letting you know, because y'all probably got kids in school. Juvenile justice programs. How many of y'all have DJJs in your district? Oh, goodness. Okay, that's a lot more than I know. I was spared. District. A lot of changes in the DJJ. Carla Green, who's over the DJJ programs for DOE, will be here. I think she's presenting tomorrow, so you definitely want to be in on that, because there's some DJJ accountability things that are going on now specifically that weren't kind of there in the past. You may want to hear her session to talk about how that data is going to be running and what they're going to need. Because if many of y'all don't know, EIS, Teresa's group, the survey periods, we collect the data, right? And we live by the database manual, right? And all of y'all can read it. Y'all know it. It's wonderful. It's awesome. It tells us what we cannot do, what we have to do, what's required, what's not required. But as you may know, what we collect is not based on what I want. Right? Because I don't want anything. I'm happy to not touch your data. What I do is I collect what the program people need for either state or federal requirements. So it's important that we really build those partnerships with the program people, because sometimes they get word that things are changing before we get word things are changing. And they may have a better understanding of why things are needed and how it's needed to help inform you so that you can clear all those fund validation and rejection errors. Well, and exception errors. Like y'all know, y'all do all the exception errors, right? Just shake your head. We correct all errors, right? You're totally error-free by the end of the survey. You left nothing on the table, right? Right? Thank you. I went on the record. You're recorded. So you really want to be sure you go to those particular sessions. And this year we were really grateful. We had quite a few program people who stepped up to come to Famous this year. And so we were excited about that. ELL is back for the first time in a long time. Accountability is now with us. I'm so grateful she's here. Because of the school grades of the past, they could never come to Famous because they had to get school grades ready and release. And remember, many times we'd be here and the phones go off, school grades released. And then the presenter might as well just shut up at that point. You're getting calls from the superintendent. But so really want to look at that because DJJ accountability is going to become a big deal in that reporting and making sure you're collecting the right data. School district funding was huge. And education funding was huge. Basically, the biggest thing out of HB 827 was an increase of bonus for AICE teachers and also a requirement for funding allocation. So if you have those ACE programs and the ACE FTE, remember on that additional FTE format, be sure you're accurately collecting and doing what you need to do with that. Educator preparation, not a whole lot to tell you on that one, just, you know, that's teacher stuff. Now, House Bill 1507, how many of y'all heard of House Bill 1507? Oh boy, you better watch this one. This is a biggie. This is the big workforce plan. And it's going to touch our entire education system. From, as it mentions on the third bullet, from middle grades, career, professional academy courses, all the way up to higher ed. This one is going to be taking probably the most of my time in the next couple of months to build the system that integrates DEO with DEO with DOE, with DCF. All of us have to work together to start collecting and accessing data to make decisions on workforce. And so it's going to start looking at those programs from the middle school level on up, career themed courses, reporting, and looking at what's being provided, the outcomes. Be sure we get those certification outcomes you got to turn in. Remember y'all turn all that stuff in, how they did on certifications, right? That's going to become you got to work much harder to make sure that data quality is good, because it's going to start feeding into a larger system to make larger decisions on workforce within the state of Florida. The last bullet, school district partners with the apprenticeship programs must report funding and costs. Probably going to be a little more tied to the WITIS people. But you know, some of us have those dual enrollment in the WITIS people in high school. That's going to be kind of working through that. So be thinking through, you know, keep your ears open for as those are progressing, because we're really it's going to start building traction. It is a governor's initiative, it's a legislative initiative, it's an interagency initiative that's going to touch the breadth of education. I think it's going to be awesome to see what we can provide the citizens for workforce-related help as we go forward. Education funding. First bullet, y'all probably know some of this, provides for teacher pay increases to move toward that 47.5 base and creates that minimum expectation of salary adjustment for educators rated as highly effective. How many of y'all staff database people, staff reporting people? Okay, this is you. Got to make sure we're accurately collecting and reporting our staff payroll information. You know, there've been some glitches we've noticed over the last year. We've got to really be sure that you're collecting it, because this is feeding into a lot of things that will reflect on your district. Okay, that requires the use of portion of non-enrollment. You can read that part. This is all the ESSER funds that they're doing. But that last bullet requires school districts to report by September 1, 2021. That's around the corner, right? The total number of unaccounted students and their status. So you need to go into the bill a little bit. You'll get more guidance, but we got another reporting requirement coming up soon. Not sure if that's going to be one of my famous ad hoc surveys that y'all love so dearly, because you always send me an email back. Thank you so much for sending me another spreadsheet to fill out. I feel so fulfilled now. And I wasn't doing anything but waiting for you to ask me for more data anyway. And I love PEBT. But, you know, and so, you know, I'm going to send you something else probably soon. or at some point. So just sit there and wait and say, thank you, Steve. Can I have some more, please? As it goes on, let's see. Portion of the money thing, we'll let the finance people hit the money thing. Bullet 2, requires school districts to use pre and post assessments approved by DOE to assess students' academic progress and implement evidence-based interventions. That smells like reporting to me, right? Go ahead and circle that in your screen or in your mind or whatever. Your pre and post test. Again, progress monitoring. How am I going to collect that? Make it easy on yourself. Find a way to get that stuff in the system and you hold it. Because you know, when it comes to somebody asking for data, who are they going to come to? If people want data, who are they going to come to? Oh, y'all don't want to admit it, see? You trying to hide. Well, my district, they always came to me, whether it was my data or not, because don't you know how to work a spreadsheet? So, but just be kind of progress monitoring is a strong theme coming through here because there was a lot of, due to COVID, there was a lot of challenge our kids went through in their educational environment. And we want to make sure that our kids are getting back on the path that leads them to the greatest success. And data is how we can really figure out where things are and how they're going and make some decisions on what's the best course going forward. Because definitely the world has changed for many of us, if not all. Continue House Bill 5101. Requires school districts by September 1 annually to provide an itemized list and cost of computers and device hardware and associated operating system software required under digital classroom plan funds. There's your statute where it's going to change. All my wonderful, don't frown at me, Bill. Don't even give me that. Technology resource inventory. You notice you haven't gotten that yet. Still trying to make changes to what I'm going to ask you for. But you'll probably get the email within the next week that it will be opening up. You probably will only have about 30 days to pull it off. Okay. Probably I want to figure out if that can be tied into the TRI. So it's a one-stop shop for our CIOs. We're not sending it over here and trying to figure it out over there. See if we can collect it all in one place for you, along with the other questions. I mean, you're already telling me how many devices and stuff you have. And we're going to ask some of the other things that we're seeing are COVID-related technology issues. I know cybersecurity has been a big deal. Your cybersecurity costs have been going up. I'm trying to figure out what to put all in there. So you just go one place, fill it in, and then I can take that data and give it to whoever needs it across the department. But understand, this bill passed, you're going to be asked for those specifics. So if you don't already have it, I would build a spreadsheet somewhere and keep it in my back pocket. So when they ask, it says, boom, I'm on it. Because I'm not hiring. So, oh, y'all didn't catch that one, did you? All right. Virtual school instruction, that all school district must provide at least one part-time and full-time virtual instruction option for students. Let your virtual school people play with that one. Student literacy. With me. Seven 7011 7011. First bullet, what are we talking about there? What two words do you see? There it goes again, progress monitoring data. Number of students who demonstrate characteristics of dyslexia to be maintained in the DOE education data warehouse. Now, how do we get data into the warehouse? You report it to me because I got the warehouse. Who reports to me? You're the only people I can talk to for data. So if I got to put it in the warehouse, guess who I'm coming to? All right. So, but we'll figure out what the specifics are and how we're going to report it. I'm hoping I don't have to do another ad hoc report, but we're going to have to see because we got to work through all the legislative intent, all the legislative requirements, the little, because, there's a lot of stuff written in the bill. And I'm just giving you the broad brush ideas, but there could be some very prescriptive things in there that I have to follow and that I have to ask you for. But this just kind of gives you a flavor and idea. Look for these kind of things to start coming, and they'll start coming pretty fast. School districts pay for pre-K 8 reading interventions out of our FEFP reading allocation. I don't do that. School choice, a lot of stuff happened in school choice. For those of y'all, you got your McKay students and you got your FES students, you got all those fun people. Remember those guys? You got all them, you report to me in survey 2, survey 3, right? They're moving where, and this is key to understand, we're consolidating the scholarship programs and repealing Gardner and McKay scholarships by 2022, and moving all those students into the FES, the Family Empowerment Scholarship Program. We implemented the reporting of that, last year, I think it was? Was it last year we added that? We had McKay and then we had the FES? Yeah, so everything's going to be consolidated into that one concept of reporting, and for the Florida Tech Scholarship Program. So be looking for, and I don't know if we already got that added in or not. There's so many things, so many people, so little time. So we're going to be adding that in. So the reporting is going to change a little bit. That 30, what was it? What's the McKay school number? 30? Say it again. Okay, good. Yeah. So 3518. And, so that's going to change because if we're repealing it, it's going to go away in the future. So that's, that's going to be something we have to work on. I know Tyler's going to have fun with that. Hey, Tyler, what's up, man? So report all students who receive a scholarship under FES program must be reported separately from other students reported for the purposes of FEFP. Not sure what that means. Just mean we'll put them in the FES school number, and that's separate to me, right? Isn't that separate? Put them in this little box, and then I'll pull it out myself. So we'll continue to work on that, but that's going to be a big change in reporting. And if you don't accurately report them, that money still gets pulled, right? So you got to make sure they're in there so they can get funded, so that when they pull it for the program, they're not messing with your money. Post-secondary education and from the high schools and dual enrollment. Child welfare, as Senate Bill 96. Not a whole lot. I really want to hit you hard on that. Oh Lord, it's 10:30. Time for lunch. What time is this supposed to be over? I got 2 minutes.
Yeah, you got 2. Yeah, 2 minutes.
I didn't see that.
This was 2 minutes ago.
Okay, I'm about to run now. You ready? If I can finish with no questions, I'm awesome. All right, y'all, recognize, classify, blah, blah, blah. Read the slide. Civic literacy, changes in the civic literacy. I told you that's a big thing. Mandates high school students completing the Citizen Scholarship Program receive up to 6 undergraduate credit hours. As civic literacy test, we're putting in some data elements so you can collect it as a new test, put in the scores, all that. We figured out, and it should, big deal, it's gonna be tied to your school grade. That your attention done. All right, equal opportunity leading to employment of happening on school safety. Yes, I'll go to this one. Require school to report involuntary examinations at school. School reporting, go to Julie's Sessor session. That's going to be big. A lot of Sessor changes you need to know about. So go ahead and do that. Somebody's telephone number. Modified several statutes. You can read all that. I got to go. Have I talked enough yet? Oh, gosh. I'm glad I'm secure. Real quick on this one, 2 bullet points, 3rd bullet point, 4th bullet point. Changes in charter school stuff. Universities and colleges will now be able to charter their own charter schools. Got to figure out how that's going to work. Got to figure out how they're going to report. And so I don't know what that means yet. We will know as soon as we're told. Schools of Hope, that whole concept, they can now potentially be designated as an LEA, which means they'll be reporting their own data, which means they'll come out of yours, but they don't have to. They've been given a choice. So you either still, and the schools of Hope or charter schools, their data, or they will be putting student data directly to us. We still are trying to work out the details of staff data, but we can see they're going to be sizes, their ability to directly send me their civic literacy. I told you about that already. It's coming. It's here. It's awesome. You can go to some website for the summary of the bills. We haven't got that website yet. We'll update that and send it out when we get it. I didn't have it. Somebody's got it. I was trying to get out of here. This is just a blank slide. Ignore it and move on. And this is, oh, they gave my email address? Oh, heck no. That's a mistake. All right, those of you that are listening to the recording, that's the wrong slide. It came from another deck for personal people. That's me. You contact me. You know you can. You know, I'm always hook up with you. I'm gonna take care of my friends.